Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and we will call the meeting of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners to order. Commissioner Turner will lead us in prayer, and then Commissioner Ely will lead us in the pledge.
Let's pray. Most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you again for another beautiful day, Lord, and thank you for all the blessings that you've bestowed upon each one of us. Ask that you be with each one of the commissioners here, Lord, and be with each one of the families that are represented, Lord, in our discussions this evening. Give us clarity and allow us to do our best, Lord, to represent our citizens who elect us to these positions. Be with us moving forward, Lord. We ask that you continue to protect our troops overseas who are serving and their families here while they're away protecting our country. I ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer? Here. Commissioner Black? Here. Commissioner Jordan? Here. Commissioner P? Here. Commissioner Cook? Here. Commissioner Jernigan? Here. Commissioner Farley?
Here.
Commissioner Phillips?
Here.
Commissioner Sandlin? Here. Commissioner Turner? Here. Commissioner Allen?
Here.
Commissioner Stevens?
Here.
Commissioner Jordan? Here. Commissioner Baum? Here. Commissioner Coggin? Present. Commissioner Young? Here. Commissioner Phillips? Present. Commissioner McAdoo? Here. Commissioner Ely? Here. Commissioner Gooch? Here. Commissioner Sereno? Here. 21 present.
Okay, thank you very much. You have before you a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. Commissioner Sandlin.
Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed those minutes and I'll make a motion to approve as written.
And a second, Commissioner Jernigan. Did anyone have any additions or corrections that they would like to make? There being none, all of you in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Now it's our time for public comments, and we have one person that wishes to speak tonight, Mr. Donald Todd.
My name is Donald Todd, and I live at 633 Buck Lane. Repeal 2 Metro-type laws to prevent unnecessary appropriations and higher taxes. Let's study Tennessee Statute number 67-3-901, Part D. In order to receive certain state funds from gas tax revenues, this law requires that counties cannot appropriate for their highway funds an amount that is less than the average amount appropriated for the 5 previous fiscal years in that fund, even though much of it goes unspent. When following this law, if the county fails to appropriate the required amount to the highway fund, then some gas tax revenue normally allocated by the state would be reduced, thereby creating a penalty for the county. This statute is very similar to the maintenance of effort requirement created within statute number 49-3-314, which is the law that applies to appropriations to the education budget. This law stipulates that the new education budget for a county should not be less than the budget appropriation for the previous fiscal year. This very expensive requirement comes without any regard for the state of the economy of the time. The Highway Fund Statute number 67-3-901 Part D is also similar to the education law in respect to forcing the adoption of unnecessarily expensive appropriations without any regard whatsoever for the state of the economy, as I stated in my January 12th speech. Because both of these laws most likely will force the counties to appropriate unnecessary amounts of money in order to avoid being financially penalized, and because excessive appropriations all too often result in producing shortfalls in other funds, therefore making it necessary to raise taxes, the easiest way to avoid repetitive tax increases is to repeal these 2 laws. This action has a twofold benefit. Number one, it would prevent the unnecessary accumulation of unspent surplus revenue, and number two, it would avoid the necessity for a tax increase by eliminating the danger of shortfalls in other funds. Is your finance department advising you to over-appropriate to at least three major funds: the Highway Fund, the Education or General Purpose School Fund, and the General Debt Service Fund? I recommend that every concerned citizen make a study of the comprehensive annual financial report for Rutherford County available online. The mayor is talking about tax raises and there being no extra money to make up shortfalls. Why is the general fund the only source used for making up shortfalls when there is $71 million in unspent revenue in the other combined funds? Why are we being threatened with tax raises and cuts in services when there is surplus money that should be available?
Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is elections and confirmations, and we'll recognize Commissioner Gooch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and fellow commissioners. On behalf of the steering committee, we have several recommendations for your consideration this evening. On your desk, you will see a list of notary candidates, and I move for their election, Mr. Chair.
Second, Commissioner Sandlin. All in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Second, we need to fill 4 vacancies on the Equalization Board. Steering nominates Mr. David Adams, Mr. James Baker, Mr. Laughlin Urey, and Mr. Edmund Daylott. I move for their approval, Mr. Chair.
Second, Commissioner Farley. Any discussion? All in favor of that, then please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
And finally, we need to confirm the reappointment of the County Mayor, Murfreesboro Fire Chief, and Mr. Mike Nunley to the Emergency Communications District Board of Directors. And I move that confirmation.
And a second from Commissioner Farley. Any discussion? All in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Commissioner Gooch. Okay, there's no unfinished business. We do have a public hearing, but that is to be held at 6:30. Reports by the standing committees. The Purchasing Committee has no report. So Commissioner Ely, we will be ready to start the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee report.
Item J2A, the General Fund Budget Amendments. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the General Fund be amended as follows: from archives, increased revenue, other general government grant, $2,000, increased expenditures, data processing equipment, $2,000. General Sessions Court, from restricted for administration of justice, $3,410, to data processing services, $1,000, and data processing equipment, $2,410. This amendment is to provide funding for surveillance cameras for General Sessions Court. Chancellery Court, from unassigned fund balance, $24,950, to legal notices, $24,950. The amount paid for legal services is eventually reimbursed when there is a tax sale or when citizens pay their delinquent taxes, but because the tax sale will not happen until the end of June, we wanted to make sure that there was sufficient funds in this line item. Emergency Management, increased revenue from Homeland Security, and this is the 2011 Homeland Security Grant, $305,454. Increased expenditures, other equipment, $305,454. Gasoline and diesel fuel for various departments from the miscellaneous gasoline account, $23,900. To planning, $500, maintenance, $5,500, OIT, $700, juvenile detention, $200, fire and rescue, diesel fuel, $6,000, fire and rescue gasoline, $2,000, building codes, $4,000, PAWS, $5,000.
And from property assessor, gasoline, $6,500 going to reappraisal, $6,500. From the Sheriff's Department and Jail, increased revenue from contributions and gifts, $5,097. Increased expenditures, Sheriff's Department, other contracted services, $4,392, and other supplies and materials, $705. Increased revenue from sale of supplies and materials, $3,331. Increased expenditures for the Sheriff's Department, other contracted services, $1,705. Office supplies, $1,407, and office supplies, $219. Increased revenue from contributions, $2,125. Increased expenditures for the Sheriff's Department in-service training, $2,125. Increased revenue, sale of recycled materials, $5,549. Increased expenditures for the jail, maintenance and repair of buildings, $2,390. Law enforcement equipment, $3,037. Jail food preparation supplies, $122. From the Sheriff's Department, overtime pay, $2,500, and the related benefits going to sex offender registry overtime pay, $2,500, and the related benefits. From unassigned fund balance, $150,000 to the Sheriff's Department gasoline, $150,000. And from unassigned fund balance, $200,000 for the jail food supplies, $200,000. And from the Sheriff's Department in-service training, $5,000, data processing services, $20,000, other contracted services, $5,000 from the jail, Sheriff's Department maintenance and repair of equipment, $10,000, jail maintenance agreements, $2,000, jail unemployment compensation, $2,000, Sheriff's Department dues and memberships, $1,000, Sheriff's Department maintenance agreement, $2,000, Sheriff's Department periodicals, $2,000, Sheriff's Department other contracted services, $1,000, Sheriff's Department jury expense, $5,000, going to the Sheriff's Department communications, $55,000. And this amendment was as per request from the Public Safety Committee. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second from Commissioner Serino. Now discussion, Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to offer an amendment to this on the unassigned fund balance. Instead of giving the Sheriff's Office the full $350,000 from our unassigned fund balance, which is very close to our 15% threshold, I move that we give $50,000 this month to gasoline and that we give $65,000 to jail and food supplies, and then ask the sheriff come back next month and the next month. And in the meantime, we're going to have to find some ways to save money. This is the 5th or 6th month where we've had an emergency or something where we've had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. First, it was $500,000 for a fleet of vehicles. And then we, of course, had the brick on the side of the jail that had to be fixed with the kitchen. We had the $1 million for the space. And, of course, the dispatch equipment was another month. So we're going to have to make a priority list and find a way to save some money. Of course, we're looking at a budget request for a 6 or 7% salary increase. I just think we've got to reel in the spending a little bit, and so that's my motion.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Commissioner Baum, discussion on the amendment. Do you understand the amendment? He's suggesting that the motion is the $150,000 for gasoline be reduced to $50,000 and the $200,000 amendment for food supplies be reduced to $65,000. That's the amended motion. Commissioner Farley, excuse me, and then Mr. P was on his feet already, Commissioner Farley. Commissioner P.
I don't have a problem with this. These are bills on these particular ones that we assume that we're going to end up paying, and it's an estimate. So as long as we're keeping up, and my question is for Lisa, will this be enough for him to go this month I want to make sure we don't put them in a bind, because they'll have to come back next month. And I don't mind doing it this way at all. Maybe it'll help us, maybe it won't. But, we're going to have to pay the bill as they come due, and I just want to make sure he's not short. If that's enough to take care of it, I'll vote for this amendment.
Well, I'm not prepared. I didn't know that this was going to be an amendment. I wasn't prepared to see where the balances are right now, and would $50,000 get us through a month?
Commissioner Farley.
Mayor, I'd like to suspend the rules to allow the sheriff or someone from his staff to be able to answer to this amendment.
Second. Okay. All those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We don't know. The sheriff is here, and Chief Russell, I will say you that based on our best projections that it will take, unless something drastic changes, it will take these dollars to finish the fiscal year. And in response of Commissioner P's request, I'm not sure how precise 50,000 is, but we thought 150 would do it for the balance and 200 on the food. Sheriff Arnold.
We weren't prepared for this, so we don't know. We don't have the numbers. I can tell you we have to feed the prisoners. We have to drive our cars. We have to answer calls. We have taken the extra step of doing what we call a still watch right now. For 20 minutes a day, each officer tries to get to a very visible location. They stop on the road, they cut the car off, leave the radio on, and they just sit there. And then if they get a call, they go. But for 20 minutes a day, they cut the car off and just sit out somewhere in their zone. It's what we've done to try to help. Gas prices have gone up. We were told last year with our budget that for the food and stuff, if we needed money come back, we'll get it. So that's what we did. Plus workhouse, with our kitchen being shut down, the workhouse costs more for us feeding in the workhouse from the workhouse than what we're normally feed for. So those are your reasons why. Gas has gone up. We estimated that we cut our own budget last year by $50,000, thinking we were going to be able to get through. We aren't. So we still have to feed prisoners by the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, and we still have to drive around and answer calls because people call us for help. So.
All right, it may be some more questions. You just stand here one moment, please. Our finance director says she can speak a little bit more directly to the amendment and the question that we may have had there.
I did have the information that we had at budget. The gasoline line item is $700,000 actual to date, and this would include encumbrances of $676,000. So unencumbered is $25,000 is what they have left on the gasoline. There's about $15,000 left unencumbered on the food, but you may have some outstanding POs that I just can't see with what I have here.
That's the best information we have right now. There's a little bit of money that's not yet spent in the current month and the purchase orders that are outstanding. Any other questions of the sheriff? Commissioner P.
Well, I'd kind of like to vote for this amendment, but, Lisa, what's going to happen if we say, okay, we're going to give you $50,000 and $65,000, I think it's what the amendment was. If the bills that are due are actually some over that, what are we going to do then?
Okay, well, worst case scenario, I mean, these two lines might be overdrawn at the end of April that we can come back in May and fix.
Would be out of compliance in the strictest sense with our policies on purchasing, et cetera.
That we can, but, I mean.
That's the thing. We still got to feed them. We still got to drive. We're not going to stop.
All right, well, thank you then, Sheriff. Commissioner Sandlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner, good amendment. Normally I'm for an amendment like this, but when you look at the sheriff's budget and look at the items that he's pulled down on a regular basis within his line items to pay the bills, gasoline, food to the prisoner. Commissioner used to be on this thing and slice that bologna a little thinner, you know. Well, there's regulations we have to go by on the state on this, and this is paying the bills, folks. You can string it out and pay a little at a time, maybe be in jeopardy of not enough funds there to pay the bills, which we do in our households and in our homes. We stretch that dollar as far as we can stretch it. But this is paying the bills and feeding the prisoners, and that's our obligation. We have to do that by state law, and we need our services on the Sheriff's Department. I think the Sheriff's Department has worked very diligently in going through the line items and pulling down as much as they can pull down into this finalization of their budget. So I'd encourage you to vote against this amendment tonight. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the amendment? Okay, we're ready to vote on the amendment. Commissioner Baum first would like to speak.
I just thought I'd briefly comment why I seconded the amendment. At the moment, the full amount is coming out of the county's unassigned fund balance. If we just pay enough to get through April and then re-examine next month, it at least gives us a chance to perhaps find funding for these items from within the sheriff's budget, from another line in the sheriff's budget. At the moment, again, it's all coming out of the county's unassigned fund balance, and it might be worthwhile taking an attempt to find that money from other places.
Thank you. Commissioner Schaefer.
Well, this one in public safety I voted against just because it wasn't split up like we're doing tonight. But the thing with me is you don't know if $65,000 is going to make it for the month of April. You don't know if the $50,000 is going to make it in gasoline to pay. If this was a little more like $75,000 for the gasoline and $90,000 or $100,000 for the food, then I could go along with it. But as it stands, I can't.
Commissioner McAdoo.
Briefly, if we go to a monthly basis, 50,000, food 65,000, will it mean that the prisoners will not eat, the cars will not be driven? I think Lisa just answered that question saying all it would show it would be an overdrawn balance on that account. That doesn't mean that the bills are not going to be paid, but a monthly trial, just like the commissioner stated, to get an exact figure or somewhere in the ballpark is not a bad idea.
Other discussion? Commissioner Farley.
I think it's the mayor or someone just got through saying if we overdraw on account, I think that we're going to be in violation of our state auditors, correct?
It'll be a little ding.
But we don't
big ding at 6:30 at the end of the year. A little ding in between.
But a number of little dings create big dings.
Excuse me, Commissioner Jordan will be next because Commissioner Schaefer's, you can come back.
I can appreciate the amendment, but we're arguing over gasoline, food for the prisoners, and the other amendment we haven't even talked about yet is for the phone lines or communication, which I did find within their budget. We're just playing a numbers game here. I mean, if we're down to $15,000 in one of those line items, we're going to have to put this money over there. We're going to have to beat this horse again next month and again the next month, and we're in jeopardy of going against our fund policy, and we're clogging up the system of making them come back with another amendment through public safety, through budget, back to here. And I don't mind looking at another amendment in budget, but we've got to do this. I mean, this isn't something that's discretionary. It's not like we're talking about a firing range or buying new cars or buying radios or anything. We're talking about food, gasoline, and keeping the phone lines going out there at the jail. Those are all just mandatory things. I don't see the point in this amendment. I hope everybody vote against it.
Other discussion? Commissioner Schaefer.
Well, I don't run my wife and I don't run our household overdrawing, whether we get charged a fee from the bank or not. Another thing is so I don't like to do that right now, even if it's only, quote, a little ding. The other thing is if you look at income tax, claim more dependents or whatever and get a little bit more every paycheck, then I can frit that away pretty easily. But if I get, at one time, if I get something, then I'm going to do something good with it. And that's, I think, is in the reverse in this case. I think if you give part, but more than maybe enough to get you by, it'll make you look and try and conserve. I know what he just said is about sitting down for a while. But if you give somebody $200,000 right now, maybe then it'll be all gone and it won't be needed necessarily.
Other discussion, Commissioner Jernigan.
We probably argued over this the other night in budget, probably 45 minutes to an hour. And the finance director plainly told us when we do this and then we go to spending money that you don't even have, we're going to be looking at state auditors. We've been trying to keep books right here, everybody that's up here. And we narrowed this down the other night. I hope everybody on here votes no on this, and let's go ahead and do what we need to do, step up to it, because you're going to either do it now or you're going to do it next month.
Other discussion, Commissioner Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like the idea. I like the concept of, it might be a little bit of pain, but I like the concept of a little bit of some monthly accountability. Not that the sheriff and his department's not accountable now, but the idea that, we kind of go back every 30 days to check and see where we are. I like that, and I like the amendment. The only thing that I would change after talking to Commissioner Stevens is kind of tag along with what Mr. Schaefer said, is if we up the gas to $70,000 and the food up to $90,000 on the amendment, I think that there might be a little bit more support on the commission if we did that. I think that'd be about half of what the sheriff and his department is requesting, and I most certainly would support that amendment to make it. How do we need to amend that? Can I just make a motion to amend Mr. Stevens' amendment?
The original
amendment on the floor. Got to vote on it. We have to vote on the original first.
Or the original maker of the amendment and the second would have to withdraw and change theirs.
Okay.
We have a motion, and then we have this amendment that we're discussing.
Chairman, I'll change my amendment to conform to what Mr. Turner just said, as long as the maker of the second is agreeable to that.
And what is that change? With that $70,000 on the gasoline and $90,000 on the food?
That's correct. $70,000 on gasoline and $90,000 on the food.
Commissioner Baum, is that change of that amendment acceptable to you? So now the amendment is $70,000 on the gasoline and $90,000 on the food. Now, Commissioner, is that all you want?
That was it. Yes, sir. I just wanted to make an amendment.
Yes, Commissioner Farley wants to speak.
Mr. Chairman, I'll call for the question.
Call for the question. Question's been called for. All in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We're ready to vote on the amendment. Do you understand the amendment? If you do, call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Schaefer? Yes. Commissioner Black? No. Commissioner Jordan? No. Commissioner P? Yes. Commissioner Cook? No. Commissioner Jernigan? No. Commissioner Farley?
No.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin?
No.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan? No. Commissioner Baum? Yes. Commissioner Coggin? Yes. Commissioner Young? No. Commissioner Phillips? Aye. Commissioner McAdoo? Yes. Commissioner Ely? No. Commissioner Gooch? No. Commissioner Sereno?
Commissioner Sereno, what was your vote there, please? Yes or no? No. All right, Madam Clerk, what's the vote?
The vote is 10 yes, 11 no.
Motion, the amendment has failed. Now we're ready to vote on the entire motion as presented initially. And are there any more discussion regarding that, Commissioner Schaefer?
Aren't we are now voting on all of them, aren't we? Because we didn't separate any of these amendments.
All we were discussing is changing that one, the gasoline and the food item on that amendment.
But now we're voting on every one, correct?
Everything on this, both sides of this paper. Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have another question. Under the emergency management line item, the other equipment, I was wondering what exactly we're purchasing with that.
That's an item that has been funded through Homeland Security monies, and it's a special piece of equipment that will be used for intensive intrusion, you might say, if we have a hazardous condition spill or environmental area. I mean, all kinds of serious measures. This vehicle is equipped to go into situations that a normal vehicle won't go into.
Do we have a staff to man this vehicle? Who's going to drive it?
It will be driven by the Sheriff's Department.
Okay. And so it's a free vehicle, but we're having to pay the maintenance and the gasoline and the insurance on it.
That is correct.
And does the National Guard not have a response thing in Smyrna? My understanding is that they've got equipment there to handle this that's available, and I don't know that we need to duplicate their services.
They may have that, I'm not sure. There is one other vehicle like this in the Homeland Security District 5. This will be a second unit, and this unit will be used by our county and available to any of the other counties in that district. So it's a commitment that's been made by the Homeland Security Committee. It's not just for Rutherford County, even though it will be housed here. Other questions? Commissioner
in response to that, we do have the 45th Civil Support Team there at Smyrna, but that has to be through the request of the governor. That's not something for everyday response. This vehicle on Homeland Security is for everyday response for hazardous, whether a suspect's barricaded in or some sort of environmental spill, like the mayor said. It's an everyday response vehicle. It doesn't mean it's staffed by a man's dedicated to it, but it's something that we've talked about over the last several months in public safety, and it's going to be a huge asset to this county. So, and it is money that has to be allocated for. We can't change it. That's nothing we can change. That money it's in the line item and it goes out of the line item. So,
Commissioner Farley.
Commissioner Stevens, out of this same grant, the city of Smyrna is getting something, the city of Murfreesboro is getting something, and Rutherford County is getting something out of it. So it's going to affect the people that you represent down in Smyrna as well. So I thought you might want to know that.
Commissioner Allen.
Just a follow-up question on that. So then, since it's a shared vehicle, a shared resource, are other communities sharing in the cost of supporting that vehicle?
No. Any other questions? All right, I think we're ready to vote, so please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
18 yes, 3 no. Motion passes.
All right, Commissioner Ely, we got a little past our 6:30 with this discussion that we've just had, so it's time for us to go back and address our public hearing. And we'll ask Mr. Demosi to come forward. We have a rezoning and conditional use permit request 12-A001. Johnny Spies is the requester, located on Floration Road. Existing zoning is R15, and the requested zoning is for services for a warehouse on approximately 1 acre. Mr. Demosi.
Yes, Mayor, thank you, and good evening, Mayor and members of the Commission. As stated, this property is located along John Bragg Highway and Floriton Road. It's on the northeast corner. The property is currently vacant, and in 1990, two-thirds of the tract was acquired by TDOT for the construction of John Bragg Highway. The applicant is proposing to build about a 2,200 square foot warehouse for ProLift Systems, a locally owned foundation and structural repair company. The property would be used for parking trucks and storing equipment. There would be 3 employees that would visit the site early in the morning to pick up the supplies and trucks that they need for the day and would return in the evening. Hours of operation would be from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., but no customers would come to the site. It would just be for the employees to come to get their equipment. The applicant also has no interest in placing a sign on the property. As far as the site's concerned, there is a Middle Tennessee Electric easement on the property that will impact where the building can be placed as well as the size of the building. But after discussion at the Planning Commission and a public hearing and the questions the Planning Commission had, they did vote to unanimously approve this request. They did feel that it was appropriate for the area and was consistent with our comprehensive plan. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions of Mr. DeMosi? Okay, then thank you, sir. There being no questions, then we're going to declare the public hearing open for those that wish to speak for or against this request. So if there are those present that wish to speak, please come forward and give us your name and address and make your comments. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this request for this conditional use permit? I don't see anyone here that wishes to speak. Therefore, the public hearing is closed. And do we have a motion concerning this request? Commissioner P.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve this motion with all the restrictions that came from the Planning Commission.
And a second from Commissioner Sandlin. Now, is there any discussion or questions regarding this? If there are no questions, then all of you in favor of this, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. Now we will continue with our Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee. Mrs. Ely.
Item J2B, a special purpose DEA fund budget amendment. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the special purpose DEA fund be amended as follows. Sheriff's Department increased revenue from asset forfeiture funds, $16,284. Increased expenditures for in-service training, $16,284. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second from Commissioner Jernigan. Any other discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item J2C, General Fund School Fund Budget Amendments. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the General Purpose School Fund be amended according to the schedule as attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim. And you notice that we have 2 motions from the Rutherford County Schools. The first amendment reallocates $46,960 in already budgeted classified staff pay and $4,194 in related benefits. No new positions or funding is being added. The $18,500 change between line items 71200-163 and 73400-163 corrects the coding for a preschool educational assistant. The other changes are all related to the actual staff in place as opposed to those who were in place when the budget was prepared. The second amendment reallocates $174,710 in already budgeted certified staff pay and $9,231 in related benefits. No new positions or funding is being added. The change in line item 72320-101 covers Mr. Gill's vacation payout and the overlapping 2 weeks the board has mentioned. And the other changes are all related to the actual staff in place as opposed to those that were in place when the budget was prepared. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Jordan. And is there other discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item J2D, a resolution implementing new dental insurance option effective 2013. Whereas it has been proposed to implement a buy-up dental option in addition to Option 1 and Option 2 dental options for Rutherford County employees to be available with the 2013 insurance offerings. And whereas the buy-up dental option would mirror the benefits offered with the current Option 1 dental program, with the exception of providing $2,500 orthodontia benefits instead of the $1,000 orthodontia benefits available under Option 1. And whereas the premium rate for the buy-up dental option would be set at 10% above the 2012 Option 1 dental plan. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that a buy-up dental option be implemented beginning with the 2013 insurance offerings to Rutherford County employees with the premium rate set at 10% above the 2012 Option 1 dental plan with no cost to Rutherford County. And to further explain no cost to Rutherford County, the premium is carried by the employee. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Schaefer. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item J2E, a resolution implementing copay medical option effective 2013. Whereas effective with the 2013 insurance open enrollment, the medical option 1 will no longer be available. Whereas it is being proposed that the current medical option 1 for both active employees and retirees be replaced with a copay medical option whereby an employee would pay a $30 copay for a primary physician office visit and $50 copay for a specialist physician office visit. And whereas an employee who elects the copay medical option would be required to meet an annual deductible of $750 for individual coverage or $1,500 for family coverage, with the copay medical option paying 80% after the deductible is met for in-network and 60% for out-of-network. Emergency room charges would be paid at 100% after the copay of $150 per visit, and chiropractic care would be paid at 80% after a separate $150 deductible. And whereas the copay that is incurred at the time of a primary physician office visit or a specialist physician office visit does not accumulate toward the deductible. And whereas the premium rate for the copay medical option would be set at 5% above the current Option 2 medical rates. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that effective with the 2013 insurance offerings, a copay medical option be offered to county employees in addition to the Option 2 deductible plan and the Option 3 HRA plan, with the premium rate to be set at 5% above the current Option 2 premium rate. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second from Commissioner Cook. Mr. Farley.
I watched the Budget Committee the other night, and I may be wrong by saying this, but clarification. Is this an option that we're not offering now, or is this a new option? Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item J2F, a resolution authorizing 2013 medical and dental premium rates. Whereas it is being proposed to increase the dental premium rates by 2% and to set the premium rate for the new buy-up dental option at 10% above the 2012 Option 1 dental premium rate effective January 1, 2013. And whereas the 2013 medical premium rates effective January 1, 2013 are being proposed as follows. Option 2, the deductible plan for active employees and under 65 retirees, increasing by 20%. Option 3, the HRA, being reduced by 15%. Over 65 retirees being increased by 10%. And the new copay medical option premium being set at 5% above the current Option 2 premium rate. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the 2013 dental premium rates and medical premium rates be established effective January 1, 2013, according to the schedules attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and Exhibit 2, and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim. Resolved this 12th day of April, 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second from Commissioner Jordan. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item J2G, a resolution authorizing Governor's Highway Safety Office grant application for the Sheriff's Department. Whereas the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department desires to submit a grant application to the Governor's Highway Safety Office in the amount of $74,941.85, which will require no matching funds for the purpose of assisting in the funding for the alcohol saturation patrols, roadside sobriety checkpoints. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor and any other appropriate officials of Rutherford County, Tennessee, be and are hereby authorized to submit a grant application to the Governor's Highway Safety Office, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim, and additionally that the county mayor be authorized to accept said grant subject to it being awarded. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Black. Discussion. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item J2H, a resolution requesting unclaimed balance of accounts remitted to the State Treasurer under Unclaimed Property Act. This is something we do annually, and it authorizes the return to the county any unclaimed balances that the state has not paid out in claims. Whereas Tennessee Code Annotated Section 6629102 and Section 6629123, as amended by Public Chapter 401, Acts of 1985, provide that a municipality or county in Tennessee may request payment for the unclaimed balance of funds reported and remitted by or on behalf of the local government and its agencies if it exceeds $100 less a proportionate share of the cost of administering the program. And whereas Rutherford County, Tennessee, and or its agencies have remitted unclaimed accounts to the State Treasurer in accordance with the Uniform Disposition of Unclaimed Property Act for the report year ending December 31, 2010. And whereas Rutherford County agrees to meet all of the requirements of Tennessee Code Annotated Section 6629101 et sec, and to accept liability for future claims against accounts represented in funds paid to it, and to submit an annual report of claims received on these accounts to the State Treasurer by September 1 each year. And whereas it is agreed that this local government will retain a sufficient amount to ensure prompt payment of allowed claims without deduction for administrative cost or service charge, and that the balance of funds will be deposited in this local government's general fund. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Rutherford County, Tennessee requests the State Treasurer to pay the unclaimed balance of funds remitted through the 2010 report year to it in accordance with the provisions of Tennessee Code annotated Section 6629121. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second from Commissioner Peete. Any discussion? All in favor of this, please say aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Item J2I, a resolution authorizing a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation for the collecting and proper recycling of waste tires. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor and other appropriate officials of Rutherford County, Tennessee, be and are hereby authorized to execute a 2-year grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, a copy of the same being attached hereto is Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim, for the provision of further optimizing waste tire collection and assisting in defraying the excessive cost associated with location, collecting, and proper recycling of waste tires, with the term of the grant commencing on July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2014. Additionally, the maximum liability of the state under the grant contract shall not exceed $466,000 or $233,000 for each of the 2 years. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Commissioner Jernigan. Commissioner Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure if this makes any difference or not, but the item number on here is wrong. Are we looking at the right one? It says LJI.
It should be. It's the correct one.
You answer that, Ms. Ely. I didn't get the question properly.
It's just typed at the top. L is J.
Oh. Oh, okay. So I on my agenda. Okay. Well, thank you for that note. So that resolution has got L instead of I on it. Okay. I'm with you now. Excuse me. Any other questions or discussion? Our secretary will make note of that. All right. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item J2J, a resolution authorizing services agreement with Skylight Financial, Inc. Whereas at the regular meeting on March 15, 2012 of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners, a resolution was adopted authorizing Rutherford County's accounting and financial management policies be amended to require all county employees paid through the county's centralized accounting system to be paid by direct deposit effective January 1, 2013. And additionally, a direct deposit policy was approved, including a pay card as an option for employees to receive their net pay. And whereas it is being proposed that a services agreement with Skylight Financial, Inc. be executed to provide certain payroll-related products and services related to the administration of the pay card. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor be authorized to execute the services agreement with Skylight Financial, Inc., a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim, for the administration of the pay cards as an option for county employees to receive their net pay, contingent upon the final review and approval of the county attorney and Skylight Financial, Inc.'s agreement to any revisions to the contract. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second from Commissioner Sandler and Turner. Any discussion? All of you in favor of this, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Item J2K, a resolution amending the fund balance policy. Whereas the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners previously approved a resolution establishing a fund balance policy which defines the components of fund balance as either restricted, committed, assigned, non-spendable, and unassigned amounts. And whereas purchase orders are issued to vendors for supplies and materials, equipment, services, and various other needs for county departments. And at the end of the fiscal year, a certain number of purchase orders remain outstanding. And therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the fund balance policy be amended, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim, establishing that balances left on current year purchase orders are considered commitments of the county and be reflected as a commitment of fund balance. Commissioners, if you will notice in Exhibit 1, on the back of page 1, under Item 2, Committed Fund Balance, General Fund, the item that we are amending is Item C. Balances left on current year purchase orders are considered commitments of the government. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
And a second, Commissioner Serino. Any discussion? All in favor of this, then please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Next, we're under the Health and Education Committee. There's no report. Property Management Committee, Commissioner McAdoo.
Resolution concerning the Fosterville Midland Volunteer Fire Department. Whereas the attached lease agreement by and between Rutherford County, Tennessee and the Fosterville Midland Volunteer Fire Department for leasing the premises at 2675 Midland Fosterville Road, Christiana, Tennessee for a volunteer fire station, a copy of said lease agreement being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein in length verbatim as it set forth herein has been approved by the Property Management Committee. And whereas it is in the best interest of the citizens of Rutherford County for the county to enter into said lease agreement with the Fosterville Midland Volunteer Fire Department. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the lease agreement with the Fosterville Midland Volunteer Fire Department for leasing of the said property according to the terms and provisions contained in said lease. Be it further resolved that the appropriate officials for and on behalf of Rutherford County be and hereby are authorized to execute for and on behalf of Rutherford County the lease agreement with the Fosterville Midland Volunteer Fire Department. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012, and I so move.
Second, Commissioner Tiffany Phillips. Discussion, Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I request a recorded vote on every vote that we're taking from this point forward.
Without objection, we will do that. Other discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, from this point forward, they want a roll call vote.
Board vote. Board vote.
Board, excuse me, just a recorded vote on the board. All right, that'll be sufficient. Excuse me. All right, any other discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
Yes, motion passes.
Now, Mr. McAdoo is not at his seat, and he voted yes, so if you'll make note.
It's up there.
Are you up there, sir? Okay, so and Mr. Sandlin has actually left the room. All right, thank you very much. Anything else, Commissioner McAdoo?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Farley. We'll recognize Commissioner Farley as the chairperson of the Public Safety Committee.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules to allow Sheriff Arnold to present to County Commission with this staffing analysis that we've got on our table.
All right, second, Commissioner Turner. All in favor of that, please say aye. Any opposed, please come forward. Sheriff Arnold.
Thank you. I just really wanted to come up here and acknowledge each and every one of y'all. I placed this staffing analysis that was done by the University of Tennessee, independently of the Sheriff's Office and Rutherford County, of a complete analysis of the jail. Naturally, we have gone through here and we've taken what proper adjustments we can. There's some other things that we'll be talking with public safety, and I'm pretty sure we'll get into lengthy discussions later on about it, but I just wanted to go on the record of giving this to y'all and making you aware of it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. So you have it in your hands and enjoy it at your bedtime reading. Carefully and thoroughly. All right. Next, we're ready for the Public Works and Planning Committee, and we'll call on Commissioner Jernigan.
Public Works and Planning Committee has two resolutions tonight. First resolution will be to approve drainage easements of Gatewood Estates, lots 123 and 2825 Morton Lane, and Arlington's lot 36, 37, 2905. And the second one will be a resolution to set speed limits 40 miles per hour on Sledge Road, East Trumbull Road, West Trumbull Road, 35 mile an hour on Bradley Creek Road, 30 mile per hour on Betty Ford Road. Whereas pursuant to the private act authorizing the Rutherford County Highway Commission and Superintendent to work on public drainage easements and provide for the maintenance of public drainage easements requires the county legislative body establish an official list of recognized public drainage easements. The attached Exhibit 1 are the easements recommended by the Planning Department. And whereas the Public Works and Planning Committee has approved the list of public drainage easements as submitted by the Planning Department, and therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the County Commission approves as additional public drainage easements the attached list, Exhibit 1, as submitted by the Planning Department in accordance with Tennessee Code annotated 54-903 and 54-904. These public drainage easements, in addition to those previously approved, shall be the only public drainage easements which shall be worked upon by the Rutherford County Highway Department. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012, I so move.
Second, Commissioner Jordan. Any discussion? Please record your votes.
Anyone that did
Cast your
not
votes. Excuse me, cast your vote.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
19 yes, 1 abstain. Motion passes.
Okay.
And you're right along.
Whereas the Rutherford County Highway Department is responsible for certain county roads in Rutherford County, Tennessee, and whereas TCA 55-8-153 authorized the Rutherford County Commission to prescribe speed limits as it may deem appropriate on any road being maintained by the Rutherford County and authorizes it to erect the appropriate sign. And whereas the Rutherford County Highway Department has recommended and requested the following speed limits with appropriate signatures designated county roads: Sledge Road, 40 mile per hour; East Trumbull Road, 40 mile per hour; West Trumbull Road, 40 mile per hour; Bradley Creek Road, 35 mile an hour; Betty Ford Road, 30 mile per hour. Whereas the Public Works and Planning Committee has recommended said speed limits be imposed for the safety and welfare of the citizens of Rutherford County, Tennessee, and the maintenance and preservation of these county roads and persons traveling thereon. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners as follows: that the maximum speed limits being deemed appropriate and reasonable by the Rutherford County Commission upon recommendation of the Rutherford County Highway Department pursuant to TCA 55-8153 are as follows: Sledge Road, 40 miles per hour; East Trumbull Road, 40 miles per hour; West Trumbull Road, 40 miles per hour; Bradley Creek Road, 35 miles per hour; Betty Ford Road, 30 miles per hour. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012, I so move.
Second, Commissioner Black. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
19 yes, 1 no. Motion passes.
Our Commissioner Coggin, Steering Legislative and Governmental Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, we have 2 items on the agenda tonight. First one is a resolution to approve the Road Board and School Board Zone Study Committee. And for point of clarification off your agenda there, I don't believe since the resolution wasn't officially approved, I'd like to announce these vacancies at our next steering committee meeting, and then announce them next month here at the commission meeting, and then accept applications, giving more time for people to apply. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners to establish a committee to study the road board and school board zones resulting from a recent redistricting committee. Be it further resolved, said Road Board and School Board Zones Study Committee shall include at least 1 member from the Road Board, School Board, and County Commission for a total of 3 elected officials making application to the steering committee. The mayors of Laverne, Eagleville, Smyrna, and Murfreesboro will be asked to recommend 1 citizen, non-office holder, from their respective communities to serve on the committee for a total of 4 municipal citizens. Accept applications at the steering committee from 2 citizens who reside in the unincorporated areas of Rutherford County for a total committee makeup of 9 members. A representative from Rutherford County OIT staff for GIS purposes and the county attorney's office will attend the meetings and work sessions to serve as resources for this committee, with the election administrator in an advisory position to also attend meetings. The committee will be appointed as soon as possible, allowing for sufficient legal notice. The committee will elect their own chairman at the first meeting, who will give monthly progress reports to the full commission until such time when a recommendation is made by this committee. The committee will make a recommendation to the full commission within 9 months from the date of their first meeting. Be it finally resolved, the guidelines as presented to the steering committee for the Road Board and School Board Zone Study Committee are hereby adopted and incorporated herein by reference. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second from Commissioner Stevens. Discussion. Commissioner McAdoo.
I just want to ask one question. County Attorney Office. Do that mean that at each meeting we will have a county attorney representative there?
I believe that would be my interpretation of this resolution.
Well, at this time, I'd like to offer an amendment to the motion that the county attorney office be called to attend a meeting as needed.
All right. Do we have a second to that amendment? Who was that, please? Commissioner Phillips? Jeff Phillips. Any discussion on the amendment? All right. If you understand the amendment, that the county attorney will attend at such time as this committee seeks his presence. Any other discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? A no. 1 no. Let the record reflect that Ms. Allen voted no. All right, now discussion on the entire resolution itself. Any discussion? Now, I believe Commissioner Stevens suggested that we record these votes. If there's no other discussion, you're ready to vote. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
17 yes, 3 no. Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Next, we have a resolution to approve social media policy. Whereas social media policy attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein at length as if set forth verbatim is in the best interest of the citizens of Rutherford County. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that it adopts the attached social media policy and directs the county clerk to incorporate the same in the Rutherford County Employee Handbook. Resolved this 12th day of April 2012. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second from Commissioner Farley. Any discussion on this? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
19 yes, 1 no. Motion passes.
Is there any other business anyone wishes to bring before this body? Commissioner Schaefer and then Commissioner Jordan.
I'd just like to let everyone know that the famous ham breakfast for the Laverne Rescue Squad is this weekend between 6 and 10 o'clock on Gamble Lane, right off the old Nashville Highway, behind the Civic Auditorium in Laverne, and everyone is more than welcome to come and share in the festivities.
Commissioner Jordan, did you wish to speak?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Health and Education Committee is, of course, in tremendous physical shape, and we're on the move. On April 24th at 4:30, we're going to tour the Stewart's Creek High School construction site. Mr. Clardy is going to conduct that tour. All are welcome if you'd like to come. Pray for good weather on that day, he said. And then at 5:30, we'll move the health and education. I already told you we were trying to get in shape. We're going to go down to the Smyrna Health Department, have our meeting there, and then tour that facility. We have construction there as well. On May 22nd, you just on your calendar there, if you're interested in this, I know you're interested, whether you can come or not, I don't know. We will have a meeting at the central office, Rutherford County School Board, the Health and Education Committee, our Budget Committee, and the School Board, and Mr. Gill will present his budget for 2012-2013. That would be 5:30 on May 22nd, and all are welcome at that meeting as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other business? Well, these surveys, Commissioner Cook, we'll turn them in to Mr. Robertson as you leave, if you don't mind. You can either put him in that chair or he'll be back there near the door. I was to remind you to please fill those surveys out. Commissioner Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to invite everybody to the Great Tennessee Air Show in Smyrna, May 12th and 13th. The Blue Angels are going to be there again. Always a good time, always loud, always exciting. If you've got dreams of Top Gun, that's where it's happening. We have a good time out there. Just want to invite everyone that's watching on TV and anybody here in the commission and in the audience to come see us up in Smyrna for the air show.
All right, any other announcements? I'd like to make a special announcement. You know, some days are just more special to some people than others, and today is a very special day for Commissioner Cook. April the 12th is her birthday, so we'd like to wish her a happy birthday and many, many more. Congratulations, Ms. Cook. That being said, is there any other business? If not, the meeting is adjourned, and have a good night.